Welcome to the Wildcast Podcast, coming to you from Wildcast Studios, with your hosts Adam Lund and Jeremy Boucher.
Oh, welcome back to Wildcast Studios for another episode of the Wildcast Podcast, your unofficial voice for all things Moncton Wildcats. As always, I am your host, Adam Lund, and I am joined by my co-host and on the energy boost, Mr. Jeremy Boucher. How's that feel?
Honestly, man, this is probably the first energy drink that I've had in
Ever?
7 or 8 years. I'm not a big fan of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I decided to take a melatonin last night before bed, and I still think it's in my system. Like, I've had like 3 naps today, and yeah, so it's been a tough. It's been a long one.
All right. Well, this will be fun then. See if we can keep you awake. And as you can see on the video, and now you're about to find out, given his intro music.
I love that.
We are joined by Stadium Extraordinaire and Creative Station Nation, Jamie Tozer. How are you?
Oh, I'm good. How are you guys?
Good. It's glad to have you in studios. Tough to see if we were going to catch you.
It is rare that I'm in Moncton these days, so this really worked out on a little bit of a layover here with you guys. So.
Like I said to you, I don't remember which stadium you're at, but it's starting to feel a little bit more like normal, and to see you at different stadiums, I'm just like, are we getting back to life? Like, does this seem normal? Like, how was your Labor Day weekend? You were in Toronto the whole weekend?
Yeah, I was there. I went last Thursday and caught a soccer game, which was really cool. First sporting event I've been to in almost 2 years that like actually mattered.
Like pro sporting event?
Yeah. No offense to the provincial playoffs we had here last year, but it was really cool. Like, you know, the girl next to me was like blackout drunk, so you know I haven't seen that at a sporting event in forever. So like felt really normal. Toronto is way more normal than I thought it was going to be, which is maybe a bad thing, but yeah, the Jays games were awesome. Really good time.
I saw you fix their offense, so that was good.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, I was gonna mention that. Yeah, thanks for fixing it.
Yeah, I hit a little BP with them and fixed it right up.
That game Friday night, man. Like, how was that? Like, that.
It was awesome.
Yeah,
it was awesome. And like, not the thing about the capacity being so low too is like everyone there like obviously wants to be there. Mm-hmm. So like there wasn't a lot of people who left early or anything. So it's like those are the diehard fans there.
Because you never know when you might get back.
Yeah, totally, totally. Honestly though.
Yeah. How was your long weekend?
You know what? Pretty quiet.
Yeah.
Didn't really do much at all. Did I even do anything?
You didn't watch the Labor Day game, did you?
Oh.
That was a disappointment.
Yeah, up till like the third quarter, that was it.
Remember last week when we said make a save? Catch a ball.
Yeah.
Anybody. Catch a ball. Doesn't matter.
Catch a ball, make a
hit, make a tackle.
Yeah, really. I can't even remember what I did. I think I was probably in bed at like 9 o'clock every night. Started watching Good Girls on Netflix, which is pretty good. Big fan of it. I consider it like the kind of like a I don't know if this is gonna be appropriate for me to say, but a feminist version of Breaking Bad, where it's more robbing banks and creating.
Oh yeah, now I know the show.
They make like counterfeit money.
Yeah. Now I know the show.
Instead of meth labs and stuff like that. Yeah. So I enjoy it. It's not like it wouldn't be what you'd call I don't know they call it chick flicks.
Yeah.
It's not a chick flick. It's I'm into it. I think it's a great show, and started watching the Untold documentary about the Dansbury Trashers.
Yeah.
Featuring I'm not going to tell the story, but former Moncton Alpine David Alexander Borgard has a good plug in that documentary. So check it out. Both highly recommended.
That's it. I've now that you talk about Good Girls there, I was like, Layla did watch that, and I watched the end of season 2, 3, and 4, so I was basically caught up. But I do want to see that on that Untold one. We just traveled around the province because we were allowed. First time to go to Nova Scotia in 2 years. So we went to Mahone Bay. I kept calling it Mahone. As in Patrick Mahomes. I was like, I get to there and I'm like, oh, it's Mahone with an N. All right. Whoops. I've been typing Mahone Bay for a nice little spot. Good to get away and just forget how long of a drive that is though. 4 hours, 4.5 hours. I'm used to like hour and whatever, but.
Well, when we drove to Quebec for the draft, you slept half the way anyway. So.
I slept half the way here, man. Yeah. went to Miramichi on Saturday, came home, did the fantasy draft, and then got up at 7 a.m. And she's like, well, you sleep, I'll drive. And sure enough, I was out for 2.5 hours. She gets me. She understands it. Well, now off camera before we started, I was really excited for you guys to do your Bachelor in Paradise. We teased it for a couple weeks. You even talked to Jamie about it, making sure he was caught up. And, well, why don't you let everyone know where you two are at?
Yeah. Slacking off. Pretty bad. Didn't watch last night's. Didn't watch last week's. So I'm at least 3 episodes behind right now. So I couldn't tell you what's been going on. But Superstore Joe or grocery store Joe.
Superstore Joe.
So whatever,
Loblaws Joe.
Loblaws Joe, yeah. Grocery store Joe is probably still one of my favorites. I still like Kenny's frequent nudity sessions, and probably my favorite woman went home. I think I can't think of her name. It starts with a T, but she sent herself home a couple weeks ago.
This is the woman who kept sweating the whole time? Is that who you're talking about?
Can't remember. No, she was darker skinned. I think her name started with a T. You know what I'm talking about?
No.
Can't remember.
Maybe I'll look it up. But yeah, she's left, so I don't have any interest in it much anymore. But I'll keep watching it.
Yeah, I'm only 1 episode behind. I didn't watch last night. Last week's were pretty good though. Some guys went home who I was a little surprised about. So, but I don't know. I think it's at an interesting point right now though, because it's not stalled, but like it's kind of just okay. Like what's actually gonna happen here? So like something's gonna have to flick here in the next few episodes, I think, to really get some momentum going.
No new drama. It's just kind of
there is, but nothing nothing crazy. Yeah, nothing crazy. So
Yeah.
We'll see what happens here in the next week.
I'm trying to look up this girl's name.
You try and stay off the spoilers, do you, with this show?
Me? Oh yeah, I can't read spoilers. I'm a big Demi fan. I like Demi. Okay. Demi's like one of the best.
I do too. She's entertaining.
Yeah, she's
She's entertaining.
What the hell her name?
Trying to figure out which one.
It's not Serena.
No, she's definitely still there.
Yeah. She sent her.
And these are all.
Oh, sorry. Jasenia?
Oh, she's still there.
Is she?
Yeah, she's still there.
Oh, I thought she sent herself home.
No.
Is that the Queen one?
No, that's
No.
oh god,
Victoria.
Yeah. Well, she wasn't the queen anymore. She was the goddess.
Oh yeah,
the goddess.
Upgraded.
Yeah. And yeah, so I'll have to catch up. But next week, I promise we'll be back on the ball here.
Perfect. Well, I know our fans will appreciate that.
Is there a lot of crossover between the Wildcats fans and the Bachelor? Do we have data market research on that?
I think there's a lot of crossover between the Wildcats and the Bachelor
really?
seasons. Yeah, I think a few of them got together during the season to watch it.
Yeah. I know Justin Hadley has had some has Bachelor
parties.
viewing parties, but I'm not sure if those are still going on.
As for the fans, I have no idea because I don't watch it, so I don't keep up. Maybe you should go live next episode on the Twitter and just keep everybody updated with what's going on and see how much reaction did you just wake yourself up?
I'm starting to get the shakes, man. Holy shit. These things really do work. I know. I think Marky up in Bathurst drinks one of these every show. And holy jumping Jesus.
Well, maybe we just stumbled onto a new product for the show. You can just drink a Monster and be ready to go. NFL season kicks off tomorrow night as my Buccaneers defend their Super Bowl title against the Dallas Cowboys. So I know Jeremy's really good at these Super Bowl predictions. I don't know how good you are.
I'm an expert.
Yeah. You guys got predictions for Super Bowl, early predictions?
I got it.
All right.
Okay, I got it. 2 years ago, I picked the Cleveland Browns.
Yep.
Last year, I picked the San Francisco 69ers.
Yep.
This year, okay, here it is. With all due respect to Tom Brady, I think this is going to be a down year for him.
Wow.
So
Well, he's on the Madden cover, so it makes sense.
Well, yeah, there you go. Your Super Bowl, what is it? Super Bowl, what, 39?
56.
50, 39, where am I then? 39, no, 56 will feature from the AFC, the Buffalo Bills.
Okay.
And from the NFC, the Dallas Cowboys.
Whoa. That would be quite a Super Bowl.
Yeah. Wow. A repeat. Actually, that might have been Super Bowl 39 repeat if I remember correctly. They did go in one of the Super Bowls.
I didn't even mean that. So yeah. So the Cowboys against the Buffalo Bills in wherever it's being played.
SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles. I'll assume you'll be there, Jamie.
I'd love to go, but if they host an outdoor game soon, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. What about you?
I'll probably go with Kansas City. I think they'll rebound. They're due.
Wah.
They're due.
I do like your Buffalo prediction. I think I'm gonna go with Buffalo as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't pick Tampa last year, and I'm not gonna pick them again this year. I think the Rams. If there's a team that can beat them, it is the Rams. So I picked the Bills versus the Rams. We'll see if we get back-to-back host Super Bowl winners. As well, it's the Chargers or the Rams, which would be kind of cool. Chargers versus Rams Super Bowl in both their stadiums. We'll have to see if we
say the crowd will be charged up for that one.
No, there's no Chargers fans. That was good though. I don't think they have a pretty big fan base, but well done. Well, we'll have to follow along, see how well see if you go 0 for 3. I really hope you go 0 for 3 for the Cowboys.
I didn't pick a winner yet.
No. I think the Rams would beat the Bills if
I'm gonna go with Buffalo as the winner, and their parade's gonna go all the way into Canada. So it's going to cross into Canada.
Straight through Niagara Falls.
Yeah,
right
exactly.
over it.
Ray Dunn, Chris
over
Dunn,
one bridge and down the other, and then back into the Josh Allen will be the Super Bowl MVP.
That checks out. Yeah. That checks out. Usually quarterbacks are the MVPs for
Yeah,
sure.
I know my football. I know. I don't watch
how crazy would that be though? Like Buffalo in the Super Bowl, like that was one of the things that sucked most about last season. Was seeing like a half-empty stadium in Buffalo.
Yeah, because they've turned the corner. They've figured it out. So. Hopefully we get a full season. I know that the shit's kind of crazy down there, but hopefully we get a somewhat of a full season. But as always,
they had full NHL arenas in like the end of March. Did they not?
I'm pretty sure they did.
Yep.
Or So
in some markets, yeah.
So we're good. I think we're good.
I hope we're good. As always, you can follow us on Twitter, the Moncton Wildcast, Instagram Wildcast Podcast, TikTok, and as well, don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube. Our quick question, NHLers going back to the Olympics in February, so we finally get to see the McDavids, the Crosbys, McKinnon all on the same ice. You guys got any thoughts on what a roster could look like, or who you... I mean, I'm guessing there's a lot of rosters out there that are going to pretty much look the same, except for maybe the goaltenders and a couple defensemen.
I honestly haven't even thought about it, but I'm starting to wonder just how many points Conor McGregor.
And with that, we're going to stop with monsters.
Not Conor McGregor. Conor McDavid. How many points Conor McDavid will get against China?
Oh, they can't let them have a hockey team.
They're literally in the same group as Canada. It's Canada, U.S., Germany, and China.
Yep.
I think.
It's gonna be a rough scene.
They're seriously giving them a team.
Host team always gets a team.
Yeah, just because you should doesn't mean just because you can. Doesn't
I guess
mean
they
you
could.
Should.
Well, maybe they could just say we don't want to play.
I mean, they probably shouldn't play that game.
No.
I mean,
you got to think at some point Canada will stop.
Realistically, I mean, if it's the first game of the of the I don't even know the schedule yet. But
no.
Man, are we really? Yeah, I don't know. Sorry about that.
Are we really gonna play China?
Yeah.
Like that's just.
I mean, it's kind of silly. Why don't they just bring like last Olympics team for that one game and then go and destroy Germany and put up a good fight against the U.S. I think they're gonna get. I don't know. Rest in peace, China.
Yeah. There's a lot of just because you can doesn't mean you actually should.
Mm-hmm.
Do you like the NHLers at the Olympics? Like the NBA does at the Summer Olympics?
Oh, I love it. I love it because the players want to go. Yeah. Like, I think that's really, you don't see that in a lot of other sports. In North American sports anyway, to want to play for their country as bad as that. So, like, I love it. I think if there was a more legit, like, World Cup or World Championship played, I don't think I'd care as much. Mm-hmm. But since there's not, this is really the only best on best that we got for hockey.
I always have a love-hate with it. I'm like, yes, let's do it. And then when they get there, I'm just like, yeah, of course. Like in the Summer Olympics, of course USA basketball is going to win. Like Canadian basketball and all these players. But it's like, I would like to see, and when they went to Russia with the players that didn't play, it wasn't the best hockey to watch, but it felt more Olympic with guys that weren't NHLers. And it'd be kind of cool to see junior players go. But that takes away from the World Juniors.
And that's kind of like in soccer in the Summer Olympics, it's the under-23 teams, right? Which is kind of a cool idea.
Yeah. But again, then you're taking away from TSN's money and the World Juniors and all that good stuff. All I know is I'm just excited to see the McDavid, Crosby, Stamkos in the power play, and it's just going to be...
It's like unfair. I mean, I'm just trying to... I mean, who can compete with that? Like, what country could seriously compete with something like that?
The United States will have a pretty decent team.
I mean... I can't even think of 5. I'm a big hockey fan, but I can't even think of 5 American-born players right now. Johnny Gaudreau,
Patrick Kane.
Okay, yeah. Patrick Kane's getting old though. I guess same age as what? Isn't he like younger or older than Crosby? I don't know. I'm not even worried about it.
Well, Austin Matthews will be there.
Okay. Oh, jeez.
Jack Eichel and his missing neck or whatever.
Yeah.
The new Montreal Canadian Jack Eichel.
Yes.
With all their picks and. There was a website that I found that I can't remember what it is that had the United States on there, but I mean Russia usually has a pretty decent team, but I think it's Canada's tournament. I like the question from can't remember which thing I think it was TSN. Should McDavid be the captain? No, not even a little bit. This is Crosby's team till Crosby's done.
Well, and if you saw a little behind the scenes with Tim Hortons commercial recently that was shot in Nova Scotia. As Crosby McKinnon. Crosby was wearing a Team Canada jersey with the C on it. So.
Dun, dun, dun.
There you go. Spoiler.
Yep. Spoiler alert. The States would be. They just have some lines here: Gaudreau, Matthews, Kane, Kyle Connor, Eichel, Brock Besser, Gensel, Larkin, Pacioretty, the Tkachuk brothers with JT Miller, and then in goal Connor Hellebuck, Gibson, Werenski, Seth Jones. So they got a pretty decent team, young.
No, it's all right. I mean, they don't have that wow factor.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just being completely biased right now.
Somewhat.
But I mean, there's nobody that jumps off the page and just says, "Oh, this player is gonna absolutely break out during the tournament for the States." So it's this will be obviously McDavid's first Olympics. I'm actually interested to see what they do with the roster because there's so many guys to choose from.
Yeah. Yeah, like how many of the Duncan Keiths and the Drew Doughties and the older players do you take as opposed, like even in goal, like you're taking Carey Price, are you taking Fleury?
I would go Price, Biddington, and I don't know. There got to be a third guy, but Price and Biddington, and I can't think of maybe Fleury, but
yeah, I had Fleury, Price, and Carter Hart.
Yeah,
cat a hat, as you have to say it.
Yeah, the goalie one's so interesting. Is like 2 years ago, like I don't know if would any of us have picked Price and Fleury? Like that's crazy. It's crazy like how things have turned so quickly. But
we'd have picked Binnington and Carter Hart.
Yeah,
yeah. And now Darcy Kemper's the guy in Colorado, I think. So is he the?
Yeah, I'm with you though, Adam. Like I think Hart has a good chance. Like he had pretty terrible year, but
if he bounces back, So I'm just excited to get the Canadians, like the Olympic hockey.
That'd be fun.
Yeah,
that'd be fun.
Getting up at 4 a.m. probably from China.
Yeah,
it's 11 hours ahead of us. I think 11 or 13. It was 12. The most recent summer games, as I was working with the COC, was 12 hours ahead of us exactly. I think it was 11. I checked recently.
So if there's a game at 8 o'clock at night, it's going to be 7 o'clock.
Oh, man. Put all the Canadian games on weekends so we don't have to get up and go to work.
Give us all the late games. The 11 p.m. starts in China.
All right.
That'll be fun, though.
All right, let's get to some news and notes around the league.
News and notes from around the queue.
Well, we were hoping the Memorial Cup host was going to be announced, and it's this July, and I guess Jamie's going to break some news right now. I'm hoping.
Yeah, breaking news. Yeah. I still don't know when it's going to be announced.
Because it was first announced it was going to be September 6th, and then I messaged you yesterday because I was driving back from Halifax, and you're like, not on a holiday.
No. They said the week of September 6th, so we'll actually see if it's this week, though.
Yeah, I'm waiting for that. I got to know how much money I need to save up.
If you're going to Quebec or if you're going to Tozer's house.
Yeah, well, well, if it's in St. John, remember I don't need tickets, right? Because Dobson's going to hook us up.
Right,
and,
Dobson's going to hook us up.
And so do I need to get accommodations or do I not? Do I need to?
No, stay with him.
Yeah. Could do that.
Bunk on the couch.
Yeah.
Little Airbnb going.
Yeah. I'll be like, hey, Trevor Georgie, I heard you got a spot open for some Wildcats fans in your basement.
Is there a sense in St. John, like they want this thing? Like, what is the sense down there as the bid was being put together now as it's getting closer to the actual deadline?
Well, I think they believe that they have a pretty legitimate shot,
Yep.
and I would agree with that. And I think it feels really similar to 2012 when they lost the bid, except St. John's kind of the Shawinigan in this scenario where you look at the score, like if you're actually scoring it and you're writing down and going through, like there's no way they beat Quebec. But there's really no way Shawinigan should have beat St. John in 2012. So, I mean, anything's going to happen. And I think, I don't want to sound like so much of a homer here, but like St. John is kind of owed a Memorial Cup here at some point.
They are exactly what he said.
They are owed a Memorial Cup. I think they should have had it. I mean, I think I'm with you. They should have had it in 2012. But I mean, if they would have got it in 2012, I don't think I would have eaten poutine every day. And,
Met your dad.
Met my dad, Rob Falds, and dressed up in Quebec flags and Quebec cowboy hats, and I'm with you, man. I think they're owed. I think the league owes them one, just like I think the league owes Gatineau one. But so it's going to be interesting. I think St. John gets it, but at the same time, I think Quebec gets it because of the rink. Because it's in Quebec you can they got 16,000
something like that, yeah.
16,000. You can probably sell tournament passes at a lot cheaper because you're going to bring in more revenue if you sell them at a smaller price with more people. So I don't know, going to be interesting. There's more nothing against St. John, but there's more to do, I think, in Quebec from a tourism standpoint. I'm sick and tired of going to Rockies and getting food poisoning. So it's I like Quebec City's just more of an attractive market for me.
And St. John's done some renos to the rink, right?
Yeah, they're installing not nothing too exciting, but they're installing
nothing like Halifax where they're on the road for the first month.
No, they're not.
They're getting all new ice and
redid the whole floor.
Yeah,
they're installing new boards and glass and new lights, which is apparently a 2-month project. But yeah, just back to St. John, like there's a sense that this could be it for like a while. Like St. John probably isn't going to bid again the next round. And then like you look at 6 years from now, Moncton's back in it, Gatineau's back in it, even Halifax is back in it. Like there's a sense that like this could be it for a while. And Scott McCain's not a young guy. So I think there's a sense that this could kind of be the end of this era of SeaDogs hockey. For their chance to win this bid.
I guess, yeah, when you put it like that, it's going to be a while before they get back to
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at almost like 9 years from now, which is pretty crazy.
Because you can look at it, I mean, if St. John gets it this time, then obviously they're going to eventually want the Avenir Center showed off on national stage. They're going to do the same thing to the new Gatineau rink. I mean, so you're probably looking at, from a Moncton standpoint, the next time we have the Memorial Cup in Quebec as a Quebec host team will be in 2 or 3 years, right?
Yep.
So, I mean, that's going to be, you look at the core Moncton's got right now that, the young guys are building. 2-3 years they're going to look pretty good on paper.
Yep.
But same thing with Gatineau. I mean, they're loading up on, they got a bunch of 17s, a bunch of 16s. So, I wouldn't be surprised in 3 years, 2 or 3 years, it's Moncton or Gatineau. But yeah, I'm with you, man. Like it's, if St. John doesn't get it, when are they going to get it again?
Yeah,
it's
totally.
When are they going to have a team? I'm not going to say they have a good team, right?
Yeah. I'm Cup host worthy.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's what they've got built. It might be a while before we see something like that again. So yeah, you kind of you make a good argument when you say that for sure.
Yep. And speaking of Memorial Cup, CHL pricing is now out for the streaming service with Verizon, which, I mean, you had your tweet out there, $109 for a league pass, $159 for a full CHL, which I think is like what, half of what it was?
Yeah, that seems extremely reasonable, and I'm assuming that the quality is going to be pretty good from what we saw last year with the WHL streams.
Yeah, so. I streamed. I think I streamed one of Regina's games to see Bedard and a couple in the Alberta tournament. I mean, Edmonton was in their practice rink, so there was the netting, which isn't a big deal. But it seemed pretty user-friendly as opposed to when you went to the Q site and you had to open it and then another window open and then you tried to like, it seemed pretty user-friendly to – but, man, like $159 for the full CHL package, like you were saying. Connor Bedard's worth $50 in Regina on his own.
Yeah. I mean, Connor Bedard is worth $50, and you could throw in Shane Wright and Kingston. And, what they're building there in Regina. I mean, they're going to have that Stanislav's
pronunciation's bang on there.
Yeah, but no, like if you look at these prices, I mean, that's just regular price. We still don't know what kind of a discount season ticket holders.
At these prices, I'll be surprised if season ticket holders get a bigger discount than they did last year.
I know the SeaDogs season ticket holders got their discount code today.
Yeah,
so.
And I've been told that it's a pretty generous discount.
Yeah.
We're talking more than 50%.
Whoa. Oh, really?
Whoa. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. Whoa. I've seen an email that says that the Q pass of 110 will be discounted by 55% for season ticket holders. So don't quote me on that one, but that's just what an email that I've seen floating around on the old
email
Twitterverse. So we'll see what comes from that.
Which, how can you not buy it? Like,
it'd be like $50.
Yeah,
for a whole season. I wouldn't even go to a game.
No.
Whoa. I'd rather stay home and listen to the fine voice of Mr. Tim G. Roselle. That's on Twitter at Tim G. Roselle. At Tim G. Roselle. Honestly, at $50, if it's actually 55% off for season ticket holders, and you're going to give us a full Q season for $50, I'll stay home and watch half the games.
Yeah.
It's if the broadcasting quality is good,
that's all we're hoping for.
You're not going to. I mean, at the Avenir Center, the camera is always going to be in good shape.
Yeah.
Same thing in Halifax. Like all these maritime rinks, the camera is set up pretty good. But you go to like a Baie-Comeau or
a Val-d'Or.
A Val-d'Or,
Rimouski's pretty good usually.
Yeah, because I think it's a Telus feed, right? So, but yeah, if the feed is much better in these. We just lost the light here.
Feed will be a lot better than those lights. We're hoping.
No, I won't have a problem. I'll actually sit around and watch a Val-d'Or against a Chicoutimi game if the feed looks good.
And I know last year before this all went downhill with Quebec apparently vetoing the whole thing. There were going to be a lot of minimum broadcast standards brought into the league. That there was going to be some pretty considerable upgrades to a lot of buildings.
480p to 720p or something like that. Like internet ways, like 2021 internet. So, and really,
I didn't even know they had Wi-Fi in Baie-Comeau. Like it's
it's a miracle, really.
You want to talk about the government getting high speed internet and in all these rural communities. I mean, I didn't even know they had internet in Baie-Comeau. Like Jesus. A good poutine, though, apparently, according to Richie Thibault, but didn't know they had good Wi-Fi.
And we're seeing more and more arenas in the coming months and weeks as we get closer to going to the double vaccine, having to report. The Scotiabank Center was the first to do it in the Maritimes division. Did they have it when you went to the Blue Jays game?
Didn't have to show proof. No. I don't think I did.
Well.
When I bought my tickets, I think it asked me if I had been vaccinated, but I didn't have to show any sort of proof or anything like that.
And off to you, Stadium Extraordinaire. Like, did you have to show it this weekend?
Nope, I didn't show it anywhere in Toronto, but I did show it.
Well, that doesn't help my next question.
I have season tickets to the Wanderers soccer team in Halifax, and you do have to be fully vaccinated to go to a Wanderers game now. And that was the first time I've had to show it to anyone. But like a prime example of the problems with the paper situations. Pouring. That's great. Speaking of rain.
There goes a laptop.
Speaking of rain, it was pouring rain in Halifax. So like I'm showing my my piece of paper vaccination card, and the pouring rain is security guard along with my ID. So I mean that's just a prime example of why you need like a QR code would be a lot simpler than
well for us that
pulling out
can
papers.
deal with a. I mean, if you can make a Costco card, make a double vaccine card. What was the lineups like? Was it a little bit longer with everyone showing their?
It was a little bit longer, but they've got a pretty good setup there at the Wanderers games. Yeah. It's similar to the Moosehead games last year. Like you have to go in your own exit and entry and stuff like that. So everyone's.
How many fans do they get there?
It's capped right now at around 4,000. Is it 3,000 or 4,000 right now? It's normally around 6,500.
Okay, but you didn't have to show it like at all in Toronto for soccer. Or baseball or nothing.
No, I know. I think the Blue Jays. I think it goes into effect in their next home series, maybe.
Yeah. Oh,
I thought okay. Yeah. I think it's safe.
I couldn't remember when they were announcing. I thought it was when they were coming back. But like I know that the Riders didn't do it for their Labor Day game. I know the Stamps did, but I know the Riders didn't. They are going to go to the double vax. They were one of the last ones, but they strategically are doing it on the 19th because they wanted to not refund or seem not to refund everybody back from that because Saskatchewan doesn't seem like the hey let's go get a vaccine type province.
You guys see those NCAA football crowds over the weekend?
Oh yeah,
man, like that's real life.
Yeah.
Holy jumpins!
Yeah,
I would not feel comfortable in an 80,000 person stadium, literally shoulder to shoulder. Like when I went to the Jays game, it was like the first homestand, and when I bought my tickets, my understanding is that they were blocks of 4, and if you bought 2 of those 4, they would automatically close off the 2 seats beside you.
Mm-hmm.
So I get there, and it's me, my brother-in-law, and I, and we're on an aisle, and then literally like 2 minutes before opening pitch, this large
German
man comes and sits right beside me. I'm like, oh Jesus, like it started to get a little uncomfortable. Of course, he starts coughing up a lung, and I'm like, oh God, I'm gonna die. But no, like at that point, like we got through the first inning and the whole row was open, so we just went and sat like, halfway through. But I was like, my God, that stranger danger was like, I had a hardcore case of stranger danger. I was not feeling comfortable. But I mean, that's just I think it was because I was in Toronto. If it's like that at the Avenir Center, I don't think I'd feel as bad or as uncomfortable. I think it's just because like literally I was like, Jesus Christ. And plus the guy's coughing up, like I said, coughing up a lung, and I'm like, no.
Did you have the same seats all weekend, or did you move around?
I moved around, but I was in the socially distanced seating area because they kind of have it divided in half. I'm not really sure why they have it divided in half like that, but they have it non-socially distanced and socially distanced. I'm not really sure why, considering the 500 levels completely empty. But being there, I can totally see why. Like having a fully vaccinated crowd, like I can see the advantage of it. Like knowing that like the person beside me is fully vaccinated would definitely make me more comfortable.
Yeah.
Like before going to Toronto, I just would have been like, yeah, whatever. But after going there and like kind of being in that, I can totally see why people would be more comfortable in that situation.
That's probably the only time, like the entire time I was in Ontario, was the only time I felt uncomfortable. Was literally having a complete stranger beside me at the Rogers Center. Like other than that, like it's I kept myself. We went to outside half the time and went to a restaurant. We were kind of by ourselves, but to have a complete stranger beside me, I wasn't. I didn't like it.
I actually forgot that Halifax still had, or Nova Scotia still had masks inside buildings.
Oh yeah.
So I didn't even bring a mask at all. Luckily, we had some medical masks in the car. But
what a New Brunswicker this guy.
Yeah, I know. Get out of the car and she's like, you gotta wear a mask. I'm like, I'll decide. I got 2 jabs. I don't need to wear a mask as I'm putting my mask on to go inside the store because that's their rules, right? Like, I'm not gonna. But BMO Center, you had people beside you, or did you have seats cut off?
BMO Field was all socially distanced,
okay.
But it was pretty rowdy, and the seating also just made no sense at all. So, like, it was socially distanced, but only socially distanced to your left and right, so there were people directly in front of us and behind us, which didn't really make sense. But
you gotta love that guy behind you.
Yeah, the germs don't go that way, apparently. They only go side to side.
Yeah, it's like at tables at restaurants. They only stay outside the table as soon as you get up, so... All right, well, let's get into the real reason why we love your stadium views, but let's get into the real reason why we brought you here.
View from the other bench.
All right, back at it for another year. Preseason previews of the Maritimes division. And this week, as you can tell why he's here, we're going to preview a team that we saw way too many times this past year and already in the preseason. St. John SeaDogs, who went 15-14, 3-1 for 34 points. And as Jamie's pointed out, has won the silver medal in the New Brunswick Provincial Tournament. Welcome in. And I guess going back to last year, I mean, a lot of people kind of thought the SeaDogs would be neck and neck with the Islanders, top of the division, the way they were built, especially with the acquisition of Emond. Never seemed to really click on the ice, which obviously led to some changes behind the bench. Just your thoughts on the camp so far this season as opposed to last year with Greg Gilbert.
Yeah, they've looked pretty good, I guess. But, I'm looking back to last year's training camp and that first preseason game they had under Gilbert, like this team looked unreal. Like they were, like you thought this was it. They finally found their game and they hit their stride, and then it just kind of went downhill from there. And they had some peaks, but then they had some dips back down to earth again too. And so it's just too early to tell right now. And I'm optimistic that they'll play better than they did last year under Gordy Dwyer. But just the same thing we've been saying for 3 years now. They have to actually show it. Like they just can't keep looking ahead and hoping that things turn around, because like this is it.
So what do you see as being the difference, I guess, between last year's SeaDogs and this year's SeaDogs?
I think it's got to be the defensive play. They've got to figure out a way to play better defensively. And I think Dwyer's, if there's going to be a guy that could get them to play better defensively, I think Dwyer's going to be able to do it. I think adding Daypon to this defense core is a really, really good add. He's been excellent in the preseason. If he can find kind of where the line is in the queue and not cross it every game, I think he's going to be an excellent add to this team. And this defense core on paper looks pretty good, and if they can actually live up to their potential, and it's kind of funny looking at this team now after all the defensive struggles they've had the past few years. It might kind of be the bottom six in the scoring that could actually be an issue for this team come Christmas time and where they look to add.
I mean, we've had a few. We had Richie, or not Richie. We've had Richie on. We had Pat. We had Gareth on. We talked goaltending. It's Jonathan Lemieux was a big acquisition in St. John in the offseason there. I thought Patnaud looked pretty good last year in most of his games. Is this a 1A, 1B situation, or is this Lemieux's 80-20 percentage in net, or is it just kind of they go with a hot hand?
I think Lemieux will probably play like 60-40 is what I kind of envision. Yeah. Maybe close to 50-50. We'll see how it goes, but I think they do want Patnaud to really get a lot of playing time, just because like ideally he'll probably be an overager next year, I would imagine. So they want to see that he can kind of handle himself, and like you said, he was pretty good last year. So definitely think he's capable of being that 1A or 1B. But yeah, Lemieux was a huge add. Got really roughed up in the game in Bathurst a couple weeks ago, but it's preseason. The team was really struggling defensively in the first half of that game anyway. So, but we'll see. And the goaltending is part of the defense core too, right? So yeah. But they can only do so much when they're facing 45-50 shots a night. So it all comes back to that defense core. They've got to play better defensively.
I wouldn't go. I don't know if it's a question mark or not. Question mark hanging over the SeaDogs. Jan Kuznetsov.
Yes.
Obviously, there's beginning to be a Calgary Flames connection in St. John. Who's it? Poirier, Francis, Kuznetsov. Am I missing somebody?
I think you got it.
That's it.
I think you got it.
Trevor Georgie was obviously swinging for the fences when he made this pick. If he played AHL last year, to go from AHL to Q would be, I don't know. Obviously, I wouldn't call it a demotion, but his impact if he ends up in St. John would be massive. Any word on his status?
I know. Well, if you ask the team, they still tell you that they didn't really talk to Calgary at all or anything like that, which I'm sure isn't really true. I'm sure they've done the research, and I'm sure there's, to use a first-round import pick on a go-for-it year like this, I'm sure they had some knowledge, and there's certainly a good, maybe not a good percentage, but a decent percentage chance of him reporting to St. John. I don't know enough about Calgary's defensive pipeline to know if he's like, well, I assume if he would get top 4 minutes in the AHL, he'd probably stick in the AHL, but I don't know what their system looks like. But really interesting career path for Kuznetsov.
Yeah,
I mean, play the University of Connecticut as a Russian, and then go play the AHL part of last year, and then potentially come to the Q. I mean, that's a really interesting path.
Would he have an impact like Kakov coming back? Is that the type of impact he had? Because that guy was a man out there. Like,
I mean, Kuznetsov, like, this is a guy who's probably going to play like 30 minutes a game if he comes to St. John's.
He eats minutes for breakfast, I think. So, you were talking about path. I mean, I think he played USHL.
Yep.
Commits to UConn, signs with Calgary, plays for Stockton, drafted by St. John. I mean, find me a more different path than into the Q than this guy.
I wonder if it's tied to the Memorial Cup bid. Well, like if they're getting,
if they get it, it's definitely a selling point. I'm sure.
Yeah.
And I completely forgot what I was going to say, but
something about Kuznetsov.
Yeah, I'm sure it's really insightful.
Going back to the draft, I know the first round there we were kind of following it on Instagram near the end. And the trade that just about made Jeremy fall over was St. John moving on from Leighton Carruthers so early. Was that just, this is going to be a year and we need some picks to get other players? Or it wasn't a give up on the kid. It was just, we're going to need this down the road, and to give, you got to get. I think
it was a combination of them wanting to get as many assets as they could to deal away at Christmas time. But I also think it was them just and Carruthers and this team realizing that he probably wasn't going to be able to move up into the top 6 this season. And I mean, he would play bottom 6 again this year, maybe even be a healthy scratch here and there. So I don't think that's I doubt that's what he wanted. And obviously it's not ideal situation for the team either. So I think it made the most sense, really.
Obviously if St. John wins the Memorial Cup bid, it's going to be kind of an all-in approach. If there's a current active player on the roster that you think would be used as, I guess, as a piece to go out and get a big name, who's kind of someone on that catches your eye?
Well, if Kuznetsov reports, that's when the defense core gets interesting, because then you're looking at maybe moving one of the top 6D guys. A guy like, you have to think a younger guy like Nathan Drapeau was probably be highly sought after, really good. Played a pretty good shutdown defenseman last year. But then I look at not necessarily their active roster, but their draft class. They had a huge draft class this year for a team that's centering a go-for-it year. So I definitely think some of those guys are probably going to be available. But boy, I don't know. I don't really feel like there's a lot of guys on their active roster that they'd be willing to deal away right now. I think maybe as a futures for next year. What about you? What do you think?
I think the first name that pops up to me is Josh Lawrence. Obviously, he could go out and score 5 goals a game, or he could go and not score a goal in 5 games. Yeah. His consistency has been, up and down ever since coming to the league. So, and his name has been tossed around for
last year.
Yeah. Right. So it's just a name that, it always pops off the page at you. So that's, in my opinion, I think if they want to go out and get a name, that's who you want to go. That's who you want to, if you do like let's say you do like I want to look at his, I'm probably going to look stupid here if I even say this. How old is he? Is he? He's an 02. 02?
Yeah.
He's 02? Okay, never mind. Scratch what I was going to say. I was going to say something about how, someone like an Elliot Desnoyers would be an upgrade on Josh Lawrence. And then you just, St. John would probably have to tack on a little more to get him. But, it's fair because at that point, Josh Lawrence is still going to be in the league next year. He's not to the point where he's not, should he have been drafted? Yeah, maybe not. But if you flip him to a team like Halifax, and then you can use him in Halifax next season as a 20, kind of makes sense. So it's just something that kind of looks good for me. But like I said, I'm not a GM. But his name just always. Every time I see his name or every time I see him on the ice, I'm just like, what is this guy doing sometimes? Or it's just, holy crap, did you just pull that off? Like when he takes a puck and goes for a skate like 3 times around the offensive zone, and you're just like, do something, do something.
Yep.
But then he just turns around and he just
does something.
Does something.
Like, wow,
like,
okay, yeah, all right.
Yeah, or he just makes himself look foolish sometimes. Yeah. So it's like, that's my only concern with him is that he was so highly regarded, but he just hasn't, he doesn't. Hasn't been that Josh Lawrence that a lot of us were expecting to see.
He's always come across too as like a guy that seems maybe harder to play with because he's just so creative. You just don't know what exactly he's going to get to, and I think that's why last year there's a bit more optimism just because he developed some good chemistry with Brady Burns, which was really good to see. So I think if those two can hit it off in the first half, I think then that's great for Lawrence and great for the team too. Because like I was saying earlier, like this. We talk all about the defense, but I mean, after the top 6 on this, or the top 6 forwards on this team, I mean, they're a little thin up front. So I think, ideally their third line, Savoie, Bizot, that I think on a great team, ideally that's kind of your fourth line. But right now that's their third line. So I definitely think they're going to need to look at upgrading some of their offense.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to get to that is, I mean, their top 6 looks really good. But once you get into the bottom 6, like you got to look at, if you want to compare, 2 teams. Let's look at the Moncton Wildcats, COVID season where, things got shut down. Like our third line was what, like Philip Daou,
Langlois.
Langlois was fourth line that year, wasn't he? Was he third or? Wait, no, because he was second line last year.
Yeah.
So we would have been third line. No, that was his rookie year, wasn't it? COVID year was his rookie year.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was Daou, Leroux, and Fortier.
Fortier, yeah.
Like, you look at that
Pretty good.
That's a third line, right? So if that's what St. John wants to do this year, and they want to go out, they want to win this thing, there's some movement that they're going to make. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah. The guy I was going to say was Shingarov. Maybe you move that third goalie, but I don't think you can. Is he a Euro? No. So you can maybe move that third goalie.
Yep.
Looking at camp when Moncton took on St. John's rookies, Vince Ellie.
Yes.
Were you kind of surprised that guy is not still in camp and making staying a little bit longer in Jeremy's favorite part of the first half, second half?
Yes, I heard that rant. I heard that rant, and I was just nodding my head the whole time. Yeah. But if there wasn't for that rule, I definitely think he'd still be here and getting a longer look. But I was a little surprised. I thought he had a pretty good chance of making the team, honestly. And I'm a little surprised he got cut. But I guess
is he one of those players that could be moved from this draft
I definitely
class?
think so. I definitely think there's him. Yeah, that's definitely a piece that could be moved. And everything I've heard about him is very good. So it'll be interesting to. It's weird to be in a year like this where we're going for it and you're following all these guys down in AAA, which is just bizarre. But
yeah. I mean, we've got a friggin' few of them that are going to be playing, AAA.
Yeah.
Starts their season starts Thursday, I think. If did Quebec give them a green light for that? I don't know if they did, but I think they were supposed to start last weekend.
I would know.
Yeah, I think they were supposed to start last weekend, and they kind of got pushed back by a week or something like that. Let me check the schedule.
All right.
You guys keep chatting about the old St. John Cenas. St. John Cenas. What?
This is why Jeremy's not allowed to have monsters before he has his watermelon water. It's supposed to be
St. John Cenas.
All right. Well, we've got the propane Plex and the St. John Cenas, so they will be here this weekend. But we talked about this from basically the start of this show, just this team, what they are on paper and what they need in the room, and it never correlates. What's the leadership group for this team look like? Is it Ryan Francis, who made such an impact, and captain isn't always your best player, it's one of your leaders, but is it Ryan Francis? Is it what's his name there? Villeneuve?
Villeneuve?
Yeah. Villeneuve? Villeneuve?
What'd you call him?
I don't know. Villeneuve?
Villeneuve? Okay.
William?
I love your French, man.
Everybody loves my French. That's what they wait for. But like, Poirier, like, what is this leadership group? Is it Francis as captain, or?
I think Francis has a shot. I think Villeneuve has a really good shot. And I know by the sounds of it, they were really considered giving it to Villeneuve last year. But they didn't want to create any more pressure on him last year, just where new coaching staff, new system, plus they wanted him to improve his defensive game. But even this year, I kind of think maybe the same thing. Like maybe they don't want to add that pressure to Villeneuve. They just wanted to focus on playing defense. So I think Francis definitely has a shot. I do wonder too about William Dufour, who's new, came over from Drummondville, Islanders pick. So I do wonder about him as well. But a new guy in the room, so I don't know. But Poirier, Darash, those guys typically wear A's. Ennis is an overager as well. So, I mean, they've got some options, but definitely not an obvious choice for captain.
I was wondering if this team, like, if they don't get the Memorial Cup bid and St. John things go St. John's ways the way they have, where what's on paper doesn't hit ice. Is there a chance they're moving pieces to recoup?
Now we're talking here.
Is there a chance if it's not going by Christmas, is there a chance instead of just keep piling into, an old vehicle that's not really worth much, or is it time to
piece of shit car?
Is it time to get out and recoup the assets for Lemieux and Poirier and Francis and you're not going to get a Memorial Cup for a while, so you might as well build. Do you think that's a realistic conversation that Georgie and his staff are having?
That is a really interesting question. And
yes.
that is, if you're really into conspiracy theories, like you're heavy into that, because like why would they draft all these guys early in this round if you feel really confident that this team's going to be able to go for it this year? So I definitely think, they would never admit it, but I mean, I don't know how you can't consider that as an option or as a plan C in this situation.
Because they have a ton of pieces that could get a lot and make a Quebec better, Halifax better, Drummondville better, a Bathurst better if they wanted to help out.
And then they're right back with Moncton, probably, maybe a
still ahead of
2010 President's Cup rematch in 2023-24.
But still ahead of Cape Breton in terms of trading this properly, right?
Cape Breton, I mean, it's I can't go. Okay, I'll say it right now. I mean, if it's even if St. John did decide to sell off, what they would get much better return than what Jacques Carriel got for that second overall pick. And
see how many weeks we can get this going.
There's some trades. I mean, Trevor Georgie's made some questionable trades, but nothing's more questionable than that return for that second overall pick that Cape Breton got.
Yeah,
I feel like there's three directions this team could go in this year. They get off to just an unreal start, and then they add at Christmas just to put them over the top, kind of like what they did in 2017 when they added Julien Gauthier, even though they didn't really need any more scoring. There's another snenario where they're just okay and they have to add a lot just to get through the ceiling. But then there's option C where they're just whatever, and 500 or below come Christmas, and you say this just isn't going to work, and we can't. We're not going to pull a Brad Marchand trade just to reach the final here in this situation. So I definitely think pulling the plug on this whole thing. I mean, it's an option, and they've set themselves up so that if they do pull the plug, like they're in a pretty good situation to turn around quickly.
Option A and B in your scenarios. Do they have to host a Memorial Cup to have either one of those where they get off to an unreal start, or can they do those two scenarios if Quebec's hosting and they're trying to beat out Bathurst and get to the final?
I've asked that question quite a few times, like how much this season is going to be impacted by hosting the Memorial Cup, and they say they're going for it no matter what. My theory is that I think if they host the Memorial Cup, they're going hard this year. If they don't, I think they go hard this year, but I think they maybe hold back a little bit just because they're not going to be completely awful next year. Like they've got some pretty decent pieces for next year too. So I think if they don't win the bid, I think they kind of look at this as a 2-year window more as just a 1-year window.
Yeah. Because even if you do that, I mean, Lawrence is back.
Yep.
Brady Burns is back. I mean, obviously Poirier and Villeneuve will move on.
Yeah.
I can't even I'm not.
And then they got all the rookies.
Yeah, so it's not even a bad idea.
No.
I mean, it's, but yeah, midget AAA kicks off Thursday.
So tomorrow.
Yes, that's correct. With Magog visiting Collège Este Blondet, my favorite name.
That's why he's the French one.
So we got Underlay, Mama Eli, debuting on for Magog on Thursday night.
Where do you catch those games? Hockey TV?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You need to pay. It's a paid. Stupid. I mean, they used to have it 3 years ago when Joshua was ripping up midget AAA. You could go on the RDS website and watch every single midget AAA game for free.
Oh, nice.
And all of a sudden they're like, "Oh, our players are too good. We're gonna start charging to watch our players." Yeah, so now you can't watch Quebec midget AAA for free anymore.
There's a name I'm sure
off.
you got some stories about, and
Joshua Waugh. Yeah, I'm curious to see the reception he gets when he comes back to St. John.
Trash cans. Oops.
Do you think Trevor Georgie regrets that pick?
I don't know. Maybe
not publicly, obviously, but internally, do you think he maybe regrets that pick a little bit on pay?
Yeah, I don't know. Probably, I guess. But I mean, Jeremy, you know better than me. I mean, he was pretty clear cut number one, though, wasn't he?
Yeah, but I mean,
I that whole lead up, it was, is he not wanting to report to St. John because he wants to go somewhere else?
We were debating that in that hotel room, the night before the draft in Quebec City. People were saying, "Oh, he's here, but he's not reporting to St. John," and they're going to go take Peter Reynolds first overall, and this all. I mean, it's bullshit.
Will he pull a Lindros,
right?
And not put the hat on?
Is he hiding underneath the bleachers like Garrett Clark and Lewiston? Right? It's it's so much stuff going on, but I mean, it's clearly maybe it was true that he didn't want to come to St. John, right? I know there was a player that was just eligible for the most recent Q draft that told every team he would report to them except for the St. John SeaDogs. So, but didn't obviously didn't get drafted by St. John. So, there seems to be something of going on that most people don't know about. Mm-hmm. That could be reasons why some of these players are so quick to come and go, or it's just not want to go. So I'm not going to say any more than that.
It is interesting what they're.
If Jamie wasn't here, I'd probably say more. I know he's not the SeaDogs #1 fan. That honor goes to Chris Dobson, of course. But there's so much more I could say. But
it would be interesting to see what, playing the old conspiracy theory, what the team would look like with a Zach LaRue, or I can't remember who went second.
Dustin Robidas.
Oh yeah, Robidas.
Sorry, I'm mouthful of watermelon here.
How much different this team would look like with LaRue or Robidas as opposed to Joshua Waugh. So I always wonder, maybe if things don't go well, you can ask him about that when you're in your article.
We'll do.
Yeah. The guys from the podcast in Moncton want to know. Just throw us right on the bus. But yeah, I mean, we've asked Pat and we've asked Gareth, what is the goal for this team? And obviously the goal for this team is a championship or bust this year, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Regardless of hosting bid or not, it's championship or bust.
Definitely is. And I think, if they don't win the bid and maybe they look at trying to expand in this 2-year window, maybe you say, okay, just a deep playoff run is good enough. But I definitely think that this team is looking at a championship run here. And the history of this team, I mean, they've won a championship in pretty much every cycle. So, I mean, if they want to keep that going, not to brag.
Kind of feels like it's an arm race between them and Bathurst to get to the next step between these two teams, the way they're going. And we'll get into Bathurst next week. But before we let you out of here, I mean, what are we going to see Friday in Fredericton as the Wildcats take on St. John, and then they come back here, the Uniplex? So 2 more arenas to check off your list. What was it like there in Fredericton with the masks and the distance? Was it open as normal?
Well, it's so apparently my understanding is that you do have to wear a mask at the Aiken Center, but that's a UMB rule. So everywhere on the UMB campus, you have to wear a mask indoors. Oh, okay. So that's the UMB rule, and everyone seems to be respecting that rule pretty well. The UMB staff handing out masks at the door if you don't have one. I haven't seen that at any other arena, so that's kind of a neat feature.
Yeah.
The crowd's been pretty good. I mean, geez, been getting like 1,200 a game for preseason, which is pretty excellent. So yeah, the first game there, I've been going to the games in the Aiken Center for almost 20 years now, and like that was the warmest I've ever seen the Aiken Center. So like I'm assuming the ice was terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean we'll see what.
But now that UMB is there, the ice is going to be perfect. Right?
Oh yeah, I'm sure pristine
conditions.
Pristine condition. Yeah, but I think this weekend I imagine the SeaDogs are missing. I imagine they're missing some guys due to NHL camps by now. So probably be missing a few guys. So probably won't see the same lineup that we saw against Bathurst, which was pretty normal in their last game. But
their A lineup.
Yep, A lineup versus.
They only have 2 goalies here, right? Like, it's just Patton and Lemieux. They didn't.
Yep.
They don't have
That's
a third in case of anything.
That is it.
Gotta love when you. This is so stupid. This is why I hate QMJHL training camps and why they're so stupidly long. It's like, let's bring 50 guys to camp and have the team down to 26 at a certain date, and then send a bunch of guys off the NHL camp so you have to call up your cuts.
Yeah. As the OHL and the WHL camps just get going, like
so stupid. What's Charlottetown? There's still like 40 guys in camp.
Yeah, they seem to be the only team that didn't have to deal with the Sea Shepherd rule.
It's like 40 guys in camp, like last week.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like we had it before, they had it after.
Did they only pick Atlantic players at the draft? Did they just not pick any Quebec players? Anyways, we're not going to argue.
I'm not sure why the season's starting as late as it is either. Like the Q usually starts a couple weeks before the OHL and WHL. Yeah. I'm not sure what the deal is there.
Maybe they just want to give themselves a buffer.
Yeah, I'm sure like Nova Scotia's happy about it. They don't have to. Hopefully their COVID rules are gone by then.
Stupid COVID.
Stupid COVID. Still dealing with stupid COVID. But, yeah, I mean, it's just basically now, please don't get hurt. Like, as you get into these games from the 2 with St. John, the 2 with Halifax, the 2 with Cape Breton, or not Cape Breton, Charlottetown. It's just like, please don't get hurt. Like, just get out, get healthy. Let's have actual, real rosters for opening weekend. But, well, I mean, that's it for us. That's a quick, right on time. That'll do it for us. Thanks for being in studio. You're the first and last guest that's been in the studio in almost 18 months.
Anytime, guys. Anytime.
Well, we'd love to have you anytime. We just got to see which arena you're at.
Yeah, true. I'm not in Moncton as much as I used to be, so it is a little tricky.
You going to a lot of rinks if you can? Like.
Yep. So the plan this year is to hit a lot. I haven't been to a few of the rinks in Quebec yet, so I'm hoping to knock off some of those. But really hoping that travel's still a thing come the fall, so I can. Yeah. Would really like to finish off the Ontario OHL rinks. I'm still missing 4 there, and would really like to hit up some of the WHL rinks in the fall.
How many you got left there?
The WHL?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't have it at the top of my head.
Oh, okay.
Most of the Saskatchewan teams and Winnipeg and Brandon I haven't gotten to, and the U.S. teams.
The best thing about the Saskatchewan rinks, if you go on the highway, you can see them all.
True.
It is true. Yeah, they got a couple nice. I like the Medicine Hat rink, which is basically just the Avenir Center.
Yeah, that's a really nice rink.
Middle of
nowhere though.
Absolutely middle of nowhere. Lethbridge is kind of reminds me of St. John. Same as Red Deer.
That's like really nice
almost
rink.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Red Deer rink I'd actually like to visit again. They did a lot of renovations for the World Juniors. Yeah.
That never came.
Yep. This year though, hopefully.
Yep. Hopefully, depends what. I'd rant on Alberta like Jeremy rants on things, but I just don't care enough to rant about it. So
1,500 cases today, boys.
Yeah, mask mandate. Good. Glad you got your Stampede. Glad you got your
open
Stampede.
for summer, baby.
Yeah. All right. Well, that'll do it for this show. We're gonna have another guest on as we get. You pretty much are gonna guess who we're gonna have on as we preview the Acadie Bathurst Titan next week.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Jackson Bellamy?
Maybe. No, he's at camps.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Lapierre? No, he's at camps.
Their mascot?
Yes.
Let's do it.
Let's see if we can get the mascot. What is their mascot called?
Oh man, I can't remember either.
Lukey? No. Loopy?
No.
I know that Monster Energy drink got me feeling loopy right now. But.
Yeah, we should get out of here before you say anything. All right, it's good to have hockey back. Don't forget the Wildcats are in Fredericton this Friday to take on the SeaDogs and the back of the home and home at the Uniplex Indy app, September 12th. That'll do it for us. Have a good week and
Have a good week.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Wildcast Podcast. Follow us on social media
Have a good weekend. Have a good week.
Wildcast.